Okay, this is unusual. We might have something that's a little bit confusing for some of our regulars here. Most of us, myself included, may know Magical as a Keiron player, but he's actually playing his normal race today, the Protoss. Whereas Art, who you will definitely know as a Protoss player, is playing the Keiron. Art actually plays a lot of Keiron. We see him out there expressing some strong opinions on Keiron balance. Essentially, we've got two highly skilled Protoss players, both of which are quite familiar with the Keiron. So this is a bit of a dream scenario for me, and I'm excited to see how it'll play out. So let me introduce the player whose force is supernatural. He is Magical! Magical hails from Russia. He's brought us some fabulous games on this channel, and I'm excited to see him play Protoss for the first time. As for our Keiron player, I don't know what he is, but I know it when I see it, because he's Art! And that's just fine. Art is from Poland, and the last time I cast him, he was in a battle with Raynor. And just being in the same room as that guy means you are awesome. Oh, we got the Keiron equivalent of an eBay block here. Magical can't see that. We've got special tactics already. Without knowing it's there, Magical's giving it right back to him. Looks like neither player is going to be able to get their natural up on time. Art, though, sees the problem right away and immediately begins shaping in a pariah. Magical has not discovered the bad news. He's just queuing up minerals. But wait, he just spent money. A second cyber core? That does not compute unless... Oh, he put it down at his opponent's natural. It is a double block. We're not actually going to build any combat units today. We're just going to build lots of structures in our opponent's bases. Meanwhile, Art's got a Sanctum finishing up. Oh, and he decides to get revenge for the Cyber Core. He goes back and actually finishes the Reliquary. He had left it at 90% so he could cancel it, but he just said, forget that, I'm finishing it. Pylons down, the Pariahs are onto the Cyber Core. Magical's gonna let that finish too. Nobody's canceling. The difference is Art isn't using his workers for this endeavor. Magical is, but on the other hand, Magical's only made his first unit. And the Stalker's gonna try to get rid of that converter. Can he chase it down? No, he will not. Reliquary's gonna get focused down. I don't know if you remember from one of my previous videos, but these explosions are really quite cool. We'll get a nice close-up here. Observe the disruption of the fabric of reality. This is how Keiron does death. Now that is Art, but do you prefer the way the Protoss does it? For this explosion is the sci-fi classic. Magenta wormhole followed by cyan cloud. While I'm clowning around here, Magical's getting a Twilight Council and Art's getting a Foundry. That's gonna unlock the fan favorite unit, the Umbra, or as I like to call it, the Ombre. Oh, Magical's sending a Stalker across the map to see if he can get something done with it. Art's Pariahs are off scouting and out of position. Magical gets a chance to shut down that natural. He goes for the converter and he gets it. That is a first blood. Pariahs pulled back to defend. Magical adding an Adept. Stalker looking to kite those Pariahs, but they have the projectability. They're slow off their cooldown, but then watch out. The Pariahs soak the hits, and now there's 3 volts to chase that Stalker away. Did Art see the Adept, though? It's just rifled off a shade, and his army is out of position. There's no depots to raise at the top of that ramp. Adept gets in, but Art has shaped in an Umbra. Adept kills a converter, and she's gonna scout that double Foundry. Oh, the workers pin the Adept up against the Citadel. That was some fantastic micro, and then the Umbra finishes the job. Art's making another one. I think it's a good choice. Forget the cool cloaking ability. The Umbra is the Keiron unit that has bonus damage against armored type. He's gonna need that against Stalkers. Because, as that Volt didn't live long enough to see, Magical's researching Blink for his Stalkers. Art is researching Wraith Chamber. That increases the range and damage of the Umbra's Shadow Cannon when it's cloaked. That upgrade's a big deal, and it looks like it's gonna finish before these Umbra arrive. The Umbra always remind me of Zorbs or hamster balls. Just remember that when they have that light blue tinge, that means they're cloaked. Once they attack, they lose that halo, and they can automatically be seen again. Oh, thank you, Art, for the demo. It's a powerful snipe, but then the Stalkers can jump on them. Art came so close to getting that shield battery, but it didn't happen. He settles for a probe instead. Oh, a third one linking up. Is that enough to one-shot a Stalker? It is! A completely uninjured Stalker. Right to 0. Magical immediately put down a Robo as soon as he saw his first Umbra, and he's already got an Observer out now. And Blink is gonna finish here. Yeah, the Cloak is doing nothing for the Umbra now. Well, I guess that's not entirely true. They still have their bonus damage when cloaked thanks to the Wraith Chamber upgrade. That would be a Robotics Bay. I thought the Robo was just to make observers, but Magical is using it to transition. We've seen Protoss use Colossus to just wreck the Keiron before. Is that what Magical has in mind? Whatever it is, he's getting himself a third. Art is getting +1 mechanical weapons. That's gonna apply to his Umbra. You can't get that until you unlock the upgrade with a Foundry, which Art has done. He's getting the gases at his natural, but he is not taking a third. Magical gets himself a second Observer. He's gotta be worried that the Umbra are just rolling around out there somewhere. We know they've returned home, but Magical does not. Art's actually sent his original 2 Pariah out to scout. I mean, hey, if you got a suicide mission, you might as well send the dude called the Pariah. Oh, Art's making an Oculus. That's the Keiron Vision Tower. It casts these rays of golden sunlight, kind of like a permanent Comstat. That thing's got a really fast build time. Oh, a huge troop of Umbrae heading out there. Perhaps they'll be looking to deny Magical his third base. Oh, he's seen the Pariah. Oh, there is no love for outcasts there. And the Observers actually picked up the other one. Art did this though so he could get the intel on Magical's expansion choice. And he got that info. There's that Oculus light. Art's using that to give himself an advance warning of any attack coming into his base. Unlike with a Comstat though, you can't just put those golden rays anywhere. It has to be within range of the Oculus that you actually built. Art rolls under an Observer. Did Magical see it? Oh, he got a Disruptor. He didn't make Colossi. The Zug is wrong starts early tonight. Interesting piece of trivia for you. In terms of single strike damage, the Disruptor is the highest damage in all of StarCraft 2. Nothing has a stronger immediate punch. Like, we don't count Storm because that does damage over time. Rack your brain and see if you can guess what number 2 is. Oh, hold the phone. Art just completely deked Magical here. He's got to the mineral line. Somebody fired the Observer. He was supposed to detect that. Oh, nice Disruptor shots. And Magical follows it up with a blink. If your opponent's gonna kill your probes, you can at least make them pay for them. Anywho, so I don't leave you hanging, the number 2 single shot damage in all of StarCraft 2 is the Liberator in Guardian mode. That's the Mauve Circle of Doom. Does more damage than a direct hit with a tank. Well, Magical's actually just cranking out Disruptors. We might be getting ourselves a Nova Fest here. But if he's making Disruptors, he's not making Observers, and right now he needs Observers. Those Umbrae, they're not just recharging their shields, they're also charging their life force. Like most Keiron units, they're double healers. Oh, that Observer got the spot. Magical saw it, he's moving over. Are those Disruptors hunting or are they the hunted? I don't think those Umbra are within range of the Observer. Magical fires anyway. That's some fancy shooting there, Tex. We'll have to go back and check, but I think he was shooting at shimmers there. Color me impressed. But what color? I mean, green is envy, but what color's impressed? Orange? Daytona peach, maybe? Oh, while this is all going on, Art is getting his third up. He is fractionally ahead on workers and on income. And he's making double Atrium. That's gonna unlock myriads. By making 2, he gets double the charges. The third finishes, and Art has included some stylish finishings. Another Oculus, and the ground turret called the Nullifier. In its original script, the Terminator was actually called the Nullifier. That is completely untrue, and I don't know why I just said that. I guess I just wanted to mentally envision Arnold Schwarzenegger walking around threatening to nullify people. You're going to be nullified. Just doesn't sound the same, does it? That Zealot is being a true problem child. So much so that Art is dispatching his entire Umbrae army to deal with them. That's like an entire platoon or regiment at this point. That is a ton of bonus damage against armor. I guess its weakness is the range. If Magical has vision of it, he can shoot it before it can close. But he does not have detection. Art gets a big snipe, but here comes the retaliation. Nova's, oh! Somehow Magical turned that disaster around and made it worse for Art. Both players lost a ton of supply there, but Art took the worst of it. This is turning into a very interesting game. Magical's learned his lesson. He's making himself more observers. You can see how those Oculus rays is letting Art know where Magical's army's hiding. Magical can see them too, so he knows he's got to keep away from them. Oh, Magical got himself a battle duck. Now he has Archons. That's a very good choice. The Umbra are going to do a lot of less damage against that. Art's really feeling the pressure. He's adding on to his static defense. He's also double upgrading his Volts, Latent Charge, and Modified Gate. As for Magical, he's actually just put down a Dark Shrine. He's gonna fight Cloak with Cloak and find out what his opponent has for detection. Magical's back and he's tossing up Purification Novas. I feel like the singular should be Umbra and the plural should be Umbrae. But I think the truth is that's just me. It's actually Umbras. Oh, we got some micro battles going on. Oh! Magical got the connection. Art is shaping in inducers. He's got charges from his Atrium and he's figured out how to solve that range problem. Stalkers hunting those Umbra down, they're gonna wipe it out. Meanwhile, the Disruptors are gonna ward the rest of Art's army back. The Inducers are also big giant yellow balls, but they look a little bit different. They look kind of like they're on a podium. They're the guys that shoot that boomerang shot. Great range, high damage, slow rate of fire. That Dark Shrine is gonna complete. I'm actually a little bit worried for Art. I don't think he has very much for detection at all right now. Magical going for the fourth. There are 3 nullifiers there. Oh, it's a trick. He's baiting Art's army to come to the rescue. Oh, and he hits him with the Novas. Oh, that was so smart. He knew exactly where Art was going to have to come from. And he had his Disruptors just camping out. The good news for Art is he's getting his Inducer count up. Oh, the bad news is there's a Warp Prism in his main, and it's warping in the DTs. Looks like it was preloaded with Zealots. Art's warping in a Myriad for defense, but it's not going to have any time to get a light ray. Oh, we actually get to see its melee attack. That's cool. Except that it immediately died, and I think that's going to be the fate of the Citadel as well. There's not a lot of minerals left there, so it's not a high priority target. But nobody wants to lose their main. There's a lot of production facilities there. Art with the counter. But somehow Magical is back in time with the interception. Art with the second counter strike. Our players are everywhere. Disruptor shots. Oh, another huge hit. The Keiron army has been decimated. Art manages to do some damage to an assimilator, but that is it. Well, he did supply block Magical. That's an issue. But there is a big gulf in army size right now. Oh, Art's got a Meridian. If he's got the energy to get detection, he does. The Meridian casts Beholder and gets that flaming head. Just remember, kids, putting a gas can over your head and lighting yourself on fire does not actually help you detect cloaked units in real life. Art does get the cleanup on those DTs, though the Warp Prism does save 3 of them and a Zealot. Magical is just on fire. Kinda like Art's Meridian. Magical's gonna take the opportunity to expand. He's close to maxing out. I think this is gonna come down to whether Art's Inducers can dodge the Purification Novas. The tricky part is that Magical's pressuring his bases. That means he can't just retreat completely. He's gotta keep that suppressive fire going. Make Magical feel what it's like to be outranged. Nova's on the field. There's a connection. Looks like Magical's gonna try to bully Art away from his fourth. Art does not want this fight, but he doesn't want to leave either. Magical's getting a Starport, Shadow Strike, and +3 attack. He's building a bank and looking for stuff to spend his money on. His economy is double the size of Art's right now. Art's dropping a ton of edifices. Perhaps some inexpensive bolts will let him turn the tables here. He's got all the ability upgrades for them, so they're pretty good. And somehow Art is holding. His Inducers have been doing a fantastic job. Magical now getting +1 air attack. He's contemplating a transition. If you go, say, Void Ray, for example, that could render the Umbrae pretty obsolete. The Disruptor grabs another kill. But it looks like Art has held his fourth. Magical reinforces his army with a bunch of Zealots. They've got charge and they're pretty close to getting +3 attack. Magical picking up a fleet beacon. Maybe he's gonna try to match the range of the Inducer with the Tempest. Oh, DT's in the main again. This is not what Art wants. He can't afford to split his army right now. He's busy protecting that fourth. The Inducers are being very efficient against the Stalkers, but Magical doesn't care at this point. He might be able to overwhelm him right here, right now. No, Art is holding again. The Zealots are in his mineral line though, and he needs those workers. The Inducers should clean them up from the high ground. But no, Art throws in the towel. The DTs were just hollowing out his main. Oh, this is gonna hurt me, guys. Stick around and I'll explain. I feel like this is my fault. I went and made a new Keiron victory outro. I did it ages ago, and ever since I did that, the Keiron, I've just been on a losing streak. I like totally want to air it, but I need the Keiron to win a game. I thought for sure this was the one, but Magical, what a dude. All right. Well, a bunch of things to cover. Firstly, last week in this video here, I discussed the big news in which this guy bought this guy. Well, there's gone and been another seismic sale in the industry. The ESL has just been bought out as well. Seriously, not making this up. This time, the buyer was a much lesser known entity called Savvy Gaming Group. The purchase price was $1.5 billion. And the sale included Faceit as well, a related company that does esports for Counter-Strike. The thing that has everybody talking is who or what is Savvy Gaming Group? The headline is that Savvy Gaming Group is backed by the Saudi Arabian government's public investment fund. Ergo, the Saudis have just bought the center of Starcraft 2's esports. I have no idea what to make of this. The internet is abuzz with what can only be described as racism in a vacuum, but there's also some legit fear as to what happens when a dictatorship buys up culture and what the implications might be for censorship in the future. Basically, nobody really knows what it means. Presumably, Savvy will want esports to continue and to continue to be enjoyable and profitable. Presumably, as far as you and I are concerned, this won't matter in the slightest. Savvy's CEO is a former Activision executive, presumably somebody who has more than an inkling of the value of StarCraft and esports in general. Hopefully, the ESL's relationship with Blizzard will remain strong and mutually beneficial. But let's just say that, for now, the news was not warmly received by the community at large, and I get it. But for now at least, let's remain calm and carry on and give everybody a chance. Let me actually say something about the game that we just watched. We had some fantastic disruptor hits. I'm going to try to restrain myself and just slow-mo one of them. I'm going to show you the best one. That would be it. Art loses 22 supply in the blink of an eye. Here we go. A 4K close-up at 1/4 speed. Magical gets his Novas right in the center of the death ball. And its ochre splatters everywhere. I'm not going to say that sealed the game, but it was a pretty big deal. Next off, I think this is the perfect time to mention the changes to the Umbra from the latest patch. This game did not feature the current Umbra. The biggest difference is the Umbra now has a new second upgrade, also found at the Foundry. And I think it's really going to change the way the Umbra plays out going forward. It's called Stealth Compulsion. The upgrade costs 150 minerals and gas and takes 79 seconds of research time. Just for your reference, 79 seconds is how long it takes to research Psionic Storm. Stealth Compulsion is an ability that, when you activate it, it immediately recloaks the Umbra. Normally, the Umbra only recloaks several seconds after it last fired. This means you can snipe a target and then, if you have the bandwidth to micro properly, recloak and escape. The kicker is that activating Stealth Compulsion costs 15 life. So it's kind of like Stimpack. You can't overdo it, otherwise you wind up killing yourself. Hey man, I told you to quit cloaking. That stuff's gonna be the death of you. I can't. It's an addiction. You might even say it's something of a compulsion. Oh, you can groan now. Unlike Marines though, Umbra do regenerate on their own over time. Kind of like Zerg units. No medevac required. So if you play your cards right, you might be able to get a recloak or two in for free. I think this change means we'll see the Umbra used more as a harass unit than ever. I'll be curious to see what upgrades get researched first. Will it be Stealth Compulsion or Wraith Chamber? The Umbra's weakness continues to be its range, particularly when uncloaked. I don't see this as a problem. I see it as a feature of what makes the Umbra so interesting as a unit. It enhances the ninja-like drama where the Umbra has to roll in unseen and quietly sneak up to a target. Anyway, I got more to say, but I've been yakking for a long time, so I'll just thank all the new subscribers, and I'll say, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your StarCraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your StarCraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang StarCraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.